but that means I gotta play 2.5 hours of the game I can't even remember the name of the finals. Hey, Red Dwarf 42, thanks for the gifted subscriptions. Thank you, thank you. Just do Speedway, it's fast. Okay, we could probably do Saw Blade Speedway. 0.18% clear rate. We'll see. Donkey, donkey, donkey. I remember this. This was the first one. Just out of nowhere in chat. Yes, I'm 30. I didn't expect to see blood in my stool. I don't know where that's coming from, but I would definitely recommend getting it checked out. Unless you had a colonoscopy within the past week. In which case, my personal... you should probably still consider getting it checked out, but my personal experience is that it's possible they tore something when they were in there. How rough was the doctor? I don't think the doctor for my colonoscopy was that rough. I think that my colonic tissue was like heavily fucked up from the infection that I had had and was still healing. Is that a Z jump? Like, that's a hard jump to make. You gotta wait a little longer. I just don't know. Big butt dildo gang? The hell does that even mean? You just talk to a stranger like that? You ever thought about taking steroids? Who do you think I am? I'm just a man. We talked about it when I was lifting more seriously as opposed to just, you know, going otter mode. Hang on, I was cooking there for a second. In my 30s, I really don't see a point to taking steroids. Like, if my job does not require me to be insanely lean or insanely jacked. Like, I can't just... I don't know if it means that I'm sane, but, like, I can't just take steroids and sit on my ass streaming all day. Like, for what? Who do I think I am? If I was a Marvel actor, then I had like a doctor supervising me, then yeah, maybe I'd be like, I gotta take steroids. I'm taking my shirt off for like 17 minutes in Thor: Love and Ragnarok 2 or whatever. But like, as just to be like, oh, I'm gonna be like a huge streamer because something's broken in my brain, I just couldn't do it. Like, I would have to commit to becoming like an amateur bodybuilder or something like that, which just doesn't interest me. Because I like to eat a lot of carbs. Always. I got nothing against people using steroids, as long as they're jacked. If you take steroids and you're just like, you know, if you're kind of puffy, then like, I'm sorry to say, I just don't think you want it enough. If you take steroids and then I'm like, wow, you're in amazing shape, and then you're like, I'm on steroids, I would be like, no shit, but like, good for you. It's still a lot of discipline and work. But if you just like look like a guy and you're like, I'm on steroids, I would judge a little bit. I would be like, why? Really? That doesn't seem like it's worth it. It's a hard level. I was kind of hoping that this is not really good to admit. I'm kind of hoping that one day I get diagnosed with glaucoma just so I can get a prescription for marijuana. Now, it is legal here, but like, I don't know. I don't want to just be like, give me some weed. I want to go into the store and be like, they'll be like, hey, what do you want? Some purple kush? Some fucking Thunderball? You want Mjolnir? You want pink Stormbringer? And I'd be like, you seem to be confused. My doctor told me to come here, and they would pull out some shit and like blow the dust off and be like, oh, you're looking for this. And it would just, like, it would be a little black box, and it would just say marijuana on it. And I would be like, yes, that's correct. Can you... And then I'd be like, Zaza! They'd be like, Zaza! Because you gotta let them know that you're kind of cool with it. Wow. Z-jump? Z-jump me? Z-jump? Ooh, Z-jump me. Ooh, that's a regular jump. It's insane where I'm from. If you have more than 3 grams, you're going to jail. The government does not have your best interest in mind. Like, that's... That just... Oh, wait, you live in Singapore? Never mind. I'm not qualified to judge. Maybe they got a good reason. But if you live in, like, North America... They don't pass the vibe check. There was a state that just voted, like... Was it Idaho? That the marijuana legalization failed by like 20% on the ballot. Oklahoma, that makes way more sense. You know Idaho be smoking that loud. Like, why? It's just the weirdest thing to like be illegal. Maybe it's not the weirdest thing, because there's shit that's like you can't ride a horse over a bridge on Sundays but after 11 a.m. or something like that, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, in Vancouver, it was like illegal but essentially not policed for like 10 years. And then they made it legal in 2015, and nothing changed at all. Like, literally, you don't even notice a difference. It might sound insane. If anything, I actually smell less weed in public than I did when it was illegal. Because I think people recognize it's not a flex to do a legal thing in public anymore. They just... they just eat some Sour Patch gummies or something in their house and watch like a whole season of Wednesday on a Thursday, and then, you know, go to work in the morning. Can I say that vaping should be illegal unless it's weed? If you're just vaping just to taste like a cranberry lemon breakfast bar and fuck up your lungs, I don't support that. If you're doing it to get you through the drudgery of another day on planet Earth, you have my support. I can't believe people are saying this is based. Holy cow. Does that mean I've gotten more based with my takes, or does that mean my demographics have finally skewed older, and people are like, when did NL get so based? And I'm like, well, it's when you turned 31, bitch. Idiot. Hang on, I'm gonna focus. I'm gonna beat the level. Zeneron's here, I have to focus. Well, way to go, you distracted me. Why'd you call me a bitch? I think it's funny to call a man a bitch. Not in like a sense like, oh, like I just beat you up in a fight, you bitch, but just like, just really for no reason whatsoever. It is a double standard. Calling a woman a bitch is pretty offensive. Calling a man a bitch, though, very funny. Calling a man a dick, funny. Calling a woman a dick, kind of funny. It's weird how it does not go both ways. It's International Women's Day. I know, I took Sam Yo's 30-minute pop ride. All the artists were strong women. I got the badge. I got the badge. I can say it. You could check my profile. I have it's probably the most recent badge on my profile. This is my fight song. They didn't play Fight Song by Kelly Clarkson, okay? They played Miss Independent by Kelly Clarkson. That's not a joke. They really did. That's not by Kelly Clarkson? I don't really care. It's a shit song anyway. And if you like that song and you're a man, guess what? You're a bitch. The Jeopardy questions for International Women's Day were not good. What was it, like? Name a woman? Sorry. International Blank Day. How do you feel about people that eat ass but don't double dip? I'm not going to answer the question the way you posed it. I'll answer it by filtering it through my own sentiment, which is, I think people are way too strict about double dipping. To be clear, in shared eating environments, I don't double dip. But it's not because I think it's unsanitary, necessarily, or demonstrably unsanitary. It's because other people would be like, hey, you just double dipped. And then I would be shamed. I'm sure it is a little bit unsanitary, but there's been like, you know, this hummus has been open in the fucking air for 4 hours. People are sneezing, coughing, speaking moistly, getting their germs all over it. But all of a sudden, if I eat like half of a pita chip, like I would taint the dip by putting the pita chip back into the hummus. Flies have been landing on it when nobody was paying attention. Like it's a battle that I don't want to fight. Like I don't think that we ever beat the bacteria. I think that we do what we can, and then one day the bacteria win, because the bacteria always win. Now you shouldn't, you know, like sneeze into the hummus. You shouldn't palm the dip, for example, but a double dip, I don't think a double dip is a big deal at all. I would rather be in a situation where people are double dipping than a situation where people are like, hey, do you want to try a sip of my drink? That's the fact that almost nobody seems to have a problem with being like, yeah, I'll take a sip of it. Oh, but don't worry. I'll use a different part of the glass. Because, you know, bacteria is non-motile. There's no, you see where you've left like a huge lip print? I'll just rotate the glass 180 degrees and then drink from a shared reservoir, which was inside of your mouth, and then a little bit probably came back into the cup. That'll save me. You think you got a perfect seal? You have no idea what you're talking about. All I'm saying is I think that people are a little bit crazy about double dipping. Maybe a doc. Well, here's the thing. I think you'd have to find a doctor who's not part of the pharmaceutical industrial complex. Because I'm sure if you ask your doctor, hey, is it okay to double dip? They would be like, what, are you crazy? Because your doctor doesn't want to become a social pariah either. Like, you could have a hidden cam or something like that, and they'll be like, doctor admits double dipping was a scam perpetrated on us by the World Economic Forum or something like that. You know, people are crazy these days. But I feel like, has there ever been a case in history where they're like, oh, they died of an infection? How did they get it? Oh, all signs point to somebody at the party double dipped a tortilla chip in the salsa. No shot, dude. I don't believe it. Would you eat something that fell on the floor? I eat stuff that falls on the floor all the time. If my wife is not looking, or if her back is turned. If I walked into my kitchen and there was food on the floor, I would not eat it. If the food went from like the bag to my hands to the floor and then I grabbed it, you know, in a reasonable length of time, I would pick it up and eat it for sure. I mean, I feel like the 5-second rule is kind of... I feel like there's some validity to it. No, pudding, or like if peanut butter fell on the ground, or, you know, if it has visible cat hair on it or something like that, then I won't eat it. But if it looks clean, yeah. You had food poisoning, you learned nothing? When I had food poisoning, no doctor said to me, did you eat food that fell on the floor? They were all like, how many times last year did you have chicken sashimi? And I'm like, I don't know, I've been trying to limit my chicken sashimi consumption. My gut's been a little bit fucked up lately. The 5-second rule is not real? No, you don't understand. I'm not trying to say that, like, the food is clean. As soon as it falls on the ground, you're introducing, you know, potential dirt and bacteria. All I'm trying to say is it's not enough time for enough of it to get on a tortilla chip to do me any real harm. Like, the acid in my stomach is, it's gonna body whatever the floor put on my tortilla chip, without a doubt. I've said this before too. People are like, sometimes there'll be like exposés, like on CBC Marketplace. We went undercover in the downtown Moxie's kitchen, and you won't believe what we saw. Fucking rats, rat shit, grime. People are like, ew. If I don't get sick, I assume that at just about every restaurant I go to, there's like a Gordon Ramsay kitchen nightmares like abomination that's gonna come to pass if somebody looked close enough. Ooh. Unless I actually get sick eating at the restaurant, what do I care? You're cooking a lot of food. I'm sure it's hard. If I cooked that much food, I'm sure my shit would be messy as hell too. I prefer it to be clean, but also, like, I live in the real world. I think you gotta do this all in one. Ooh. That's tough. That's a tough one. This is why the US is the leading country in food poisoning. Okay, first off, I live in Canada. Secondly, that cannot possibly be true. If the US is the leading country in food poisoning, it's probably because people get hungover and then, like, go to the doctor and say, can you give me a note that says I had food poisoning? Otherwise, my boss will get, like, really mad. There's no way that the United States of America, like, per capita, leads the world in food poisoning. Maybe food poisoning diagnosis, but, like... Have you seen, like, some worldwide street food videos? I saw a video where, like, a street food vendor in India cooked meat with hot sand. With hot sand that he just pulled off the ground and then poured onto the meat and then like sifted it through a sifter, and then the meat got cooked by the sand. Crunchy. It did look tasty though. Also, I think that people are not being honest. I think everybody would eat food that fell on the ground. It's just everybody has their own limit for how tasty a piece of food needs to be in order for you to pick it up off the ground. Or how much work you put into it. Like if you spent 16 hours making Thanksgiving dinner and then like you dropped the turkey on the ground, you're picking, if nobody saw it, you're picking the turkey up and serving it. You're rinsing it off and you're carving it yourself and then you're putting it on the table. Sure, maybe you make like a peanut butter sandwich, you drop it on the ground, you're like, okay, I'll just make another peanut butter sandwich. But like, if you if you made a whole turkey and you dropped it, your ass would be like, what they don't know won't hurt them. Here go 2 more for y'all. Scrambled eggs. That might be one of the foods. Like scrambled eggs, soup. Like if that falls on the floor, it's just done. You're rinsed at that point. But if it's dry, then like you can. I'm just saying, there's a lot of, I mean, there's some things society will tell you that you can't do. You can't admit to it. I try to be as honest as possible. Pee in the shower sometimes. It's the same pipes. Anybody, if somebody tells you they've never peed in the shower, I don't believe them. You need to, my hunch, if you say you don't pee in the shower, is that you need to drink more water, honestly. I don't think you've had to piss, like, bad enough. Which means you probably dehydrated. You should piss, you should drink more water. Ho! What about the bath? No, if you piss in the bathtub, you need to go to the hospital. Like, you need to go to the mental hospital. That's crazy. Why? Because you're in the water. Like, if you pee in the shower, you're, like, pissing down the drain. If you pee in the bath, like, you're just sitting in piss. It's sterile? Yeah, but it's piss. I'm not really worried about the sterility of it. It's gross for a variety of reasons. It's a waste product. What about the ocean? I mean, I think you would be in the ocean. If you're gonna piss in the ocean, I don't really care. The ocean's got a lot of piss in it, I'm sure. It's so huge. I mean, there's piss everywhere. It's just a question of like concentration, right? The ocean must have a relatively low piss concentration due to the sheer volume of the body of water. But like if you piss in a swimming pool, then yeah. I mean, if you're like 9 years old, I'm not going in on you. But if you're like an adult that pisses in a public swimming pool, you're a terrorist, essentially. As far as I'm concerned, that's biological warfare. You sort of, like, if you're getting into a shared swimming pool that children are in or have been in, and you're under the delusion that there's no piss in there, you're stupid. There's piss in there. But if you're an adult and you're adding to the piss, then you should go to prison. I work in a pool. You could poop in the pool and there's enough chemicals in it to clean it. Yeah, but I don't want to swim next to poop whether it's going to get me sick or not. Like, it's not a question of... Like, I would just rather not... I would rather not swim in a large toilet bowl, you know? Son of... What is the threshold where it goes from unacceptable to acceptable? I don't know exactly. But like, I don't know. I think if you're... It's somewhere on the borderline of 12 to 13. If you're 12 and you piss in the pool, I think we've at least got to evaluate it on a case-by-case basis to figure out if we're throwing you in prison. But if you're 13 and you piss in the pool, you're going to juvenile detention. Like, there's no perfect one-size-fits-all limit for it, but like, you know, in the real world, we have to make decisions and compromises. That's where I'm drawing my line. Holy cow, he's making progress. Isn't there a chemical that hurts you if you piss in the pool? Well, that's what they should start telling people. I don't know if that kind of society or if that kind of technology exists yet, but... He fell for it. What if nobody else is in the pool? One day, somebody else is going to be in the pool. Again, I mean, I'm sorry to tell you, if you're an adult, this is just something you have to reconcile. You have to not piss in the pool as an adult. Similarly, if you're like showering at the gym, you can't piss in the shower. Especially if you have like the prison-style men's showers where everybody showers in the same room with your backs turned to each other, so nobody thinks that, you know, anybody's trying to sneak a glance, which makes it a great opportunity to sneak a lot of glances. It's called a Nash equilibrium. But at home, in your own shower, yeah, you can pee in the shower. As long as you pee early enough in the shower that the water and the soap that runs off your body can wash the piss away. Like, you would never turn the water off and then piss in the drain. Like, that's psychotic. But if you gotta go midstream, then sure. What about peeing in the sink? The reason that, like, peeing in the sink doesn't make sense is just, like, on a physics level, it's harder. I recognize you're trying to catch me in a rhetorical trap where, like, if it's all the same pipes, then what does the sink matter? I could be dishonest with you. I could say, like, oh, well, you wash your hands in the sink, so there'd be some splashback, and then it would land on the faucet, and then my clean hands, when I turn off the faucet, would get 1 millimeter of piss on them. But that's not, I don't think that that's honest. All I'm going to say is that pissing in the toilet and pissing in the shower are both about convenience. Pissing in the sink is about sending a message.
Excuse me? Is it what?
No, I'm saying I would never piss in the sink.
I hope not.
She's on the same page as me. What about pooping in the bathtub? Yeah, you should. There's under no circumstances should you ever do that. Poop and pee are very different. I know this because, unfortunately, my daughter pooped on the ground last night. If she peed on the ground, it would have been a lot easier to clean up. Kate said, Ryan, come here, I need you. And then she said our daughter pooped on the floor, and I saw like a little smudge of poop. And I was like, oh, that's no big deal. And I was like cleaning it up with a wet wipe, and then she said, "Look behind you," and there were two enormous logs just sitting on the floor, and I was like, "Oh no!" I thought she just like a little squeaked out while she was trying to get to the potty. I didn't realize she evacuated her bowels. But that's also why people are like, you know, oh, so you like the one, Am I the Asshole, where like the guy's pregnant girlfriend like peed on the stairs by accident. And I'm like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And people are like, oh, really? It's piss. It's gross. I'm like, brother, I'm cleaning up shit and piss on like a monthly basis just on our like flooring and a daily basis in a diaper. Like, you just got to do what you got to do. Anyway, she'll have a hard time at school? I don't think so. You know what kind of nerd you'd have to be like, hey, check it out. 9 years ago when your dad was playing Mario Maker 2, he said that when you were a toddler, you accidentally pooped on the ground. I would go to the school and I'd be like, what's up, nerd? Let me guess, your dad's like a 75-month subscriber? Sucks for you. Isn't it crazy that, like, your dad watches me for entertainment? And yet, like, I'm the one who reaps the rewards for that? Financially speaking, I get the recompense. Beefing with a 10-year-old? No, I'm beefing with the 10-year-old's dad. Isn't it crazy that your dad says, we're only reading one more story tonight? And you say, okay, daddy. And then, like, as soon as he finishes the story, he says, good night, pumpkin, and gives you a kiss on the forehead. And then immediately is like, oh, thank God that's over. I can watch NL play some Mario Maker. Fuck you. Get owned. Sorry. The straw men have started to become straw boys. Ooh. Okay, now this is a rough one. He's got us moving backwards. Ooh, he really thought he was cooking something. Hang on, I gotta see what are we doing here? I gotta look at it. What are we doing here? Just a big jump? Whoo! Oh yeah, now you go backwards. I forgot. Yippee! But I don't have any problem with the dads, honestly. I've never had a... I was going to say I've never had a problem with any parents of other kids. Then I realized that the way it was about to come out was whenever I've had a problem with parents of other kids, it's always been the moms. That's not really what I meant. There was a time that kid pushed my daughter down in the playground, and then the mom came over, picked up her kid, and when my kid was crying on the jungle gym, she was like, can you move your daughter? This is an emergency. And I was like, yes, an emergency because your idiot kid just pushed my daughter down, you moron. But I don't think that was because she was a woman. I think it's just because it was just genderless stupidity. Like, it was irrelevant to the fact that she was the boy's mother. She's just a bad person. Well, she is my enemy, but I'm not saying that she is a bad person necessarily. I mean, it is an emergency when your kid has a behavioral issue at the park, but the least she could have done is been like, I'm sorry, is your daughter okay? Instead, she implied that we were like inconveniencing her by being in her son's way. Every single woman is my enemy. Listen, I haven't answered the question about like the best place in Vancouver to get Korean barbecue, because like I love Korean barbecue, but I have a bit of a hot take on it, which is that unless it's all you can eat, every Korean barbecue restaurant is basically the same. They all give you really expensive raw meat that is delicious. Like the only one that I think, and I feel bad recommending it because it's a chain restaurant, but like I don't think you're gonna go to like a city and be like, oh my God, there's this incredible Korean barbecue restaurant that it's a Michelin starred Korean barbecue restaurant in, you know, like downtown Fairfax, Virginia, right? I think like they're all pretty close. But yeah, you got me. I was gonna recommend Gyukaku, which is like an international chain. But for me, I think that they provide like the best Korean barbecue experience, which is funny because it's like I guess it's a Japanese restaurant, but Gyukaku is sick. I would definitely recommend it. The problem with Gyukaku right now is that it's on Broadway, where they're doing the huge dig to add SkyTrain stations. So like if you have to get there via a car, you're better off just going through like the McDonald's drive-through or something. I don't. It was already fairly hard to get into the parking lot because Broadway's a major thoroughfare. If you were coming through like, you know, on the opposite side of traffic, you got to pull an illegal U-turn to get in there. But then like now I don't even know if it's possible. Oh, look, it's North America only. Wrong. I went to one in Japan once. Does that help? I'm not a NIMBY. I voted yes on the TransLink referendum to... Again, don't call me a hero. This was before we owned the car. I was like, yes, I would love more SkyTrain stations. Plus, I'm renting, so I don't pay property tax. Now, it failed. This is not a joke. Any special referendum I've ever voted in, my side has lost by a lot. We lost the TransLink referendum. It was like a 1% increase to property tax to put a SkyTrain station on every block. 60% of Vancouver said, I don't know, it's going to be $5 extra on my property tax, and I don't ever take the SkyTrain, so I'm not interested. In 2006, so I think it was the first time I ever voted. I was 18. I voted for Ontario to move from a first past the post electoral system to a mixed member parliament electoral system. And people said they're not interested, I guess. It got like 35% of the vote or something like that. 65% of people said no thanks. I like voting for... I like it when a party gets 27% of the votes and then literally 0 seats. That seems fair. And then in BC, it must have been like 2015 or 2016, I voted for the same damn thing. I said, you know, 10 years ago, Ontario wasn't ready for it. BC, it's time for you to make yourself proven that you're better than Ontario, and that shit fucking failed again. By a narrower margin, but still, like, by a lot. I vote for a lot of things that lose. I got zeroed out on my municipal ballot this year too. The mayoral candidate I voted for lost. I voted for 8 city councilors. One of them made it in 8th place. And I think none of the people I voted for school trustee made it. So they basically said your vote doesn't count. I got bodied. But the point of voting is not to vote for the side that's gonna win. It's to vote strategically so the party that you hate the most has a less chance of winning. I'm joking. I think that's everything wrong with first past the post electoral system, which is why I voted for Justin Trudeau in 2015 because he said he said Sunny Ways friends were gonna do electoral reform. With God as my witness, we're gonna do electoral reform. 2 weeks after we got elected in a landslide, he was like, we did a commission and people decided they didn't want it. I said, what do you mean we didn't want it? That's why I voted for you, dude. He got my ass. Hang on, hang on, hang on, hang on. And I didn't even see it coming. Did you vote for the mayoral guy who did crack? Excuse me, that's Toronto? I don't live in Toronto, I live in Vancouver. Oh, this looks fucking weird, right? What the hell's going on with the refraction on my lenses here? Pippi Longfinger. Look at what is this? I've never noticed that before. Whoa! Whoa! That's weird. Are you high? No, I'm just a guy. Doesn't it look weird? Maybe it looks completely normal. I did not vote in the Toronto mayoral election, okay? I'm not a Toronto citizen. I voted for it's easy to get confused. I understand not everybody has an exhaustive knowledge of Canadian cities. I would say I voted for the guy who, I was gonna say let the whole city smoke crack. Hang on. Which is not 100% true, but kind of true. Probably the least based joke that I tell is when people say, like, is it legal to drink a beer in Vancouver parks? And I say, no, it's not legal. But what you can do is if a police officer was ever to hassle you, make sure you have it in a paper bag and say, no, officer, don't worry, this is heroin. And then they'd be like, okay, carry on then. Sorry, I thought you were enjoying a 33 acres of sunshine. Now that I realize it's heroin, please continue on with your business. On base, but +2. I don't know if it's true or not, but you can imagine that it would be true. So to the human brain, it feels like it's true. That's just as good as the truth in the ChatGPT-3 era. Why is North America so against drinking in public? I think there's two things. One of them is that I genuinely do think that on like an individual level, we're like badly behaved compared to a lot of other continents. The other thing is that, you know, historically there's like, it's a heavy drinking continent, but also there's like the puritanical idea that like you should never drink, but also people are drunk all the time. So you should only drink like in your house when nobody can see you. But it's one of those laws that really annoys me because like it only punishes like people who would do it fine. People who are like gonna break the law to begin with are not gonna worry about the law, if that makes sense. Like, like if people are prone to getting intoxicated in public and then causing problems, not solving problems, that would be a heck of a superhero, though. They're probably not going to be like, oh, I can't do that, that's illegal. They're going to be like, fuck the police. But me, who could easily just have like an $8 fat tug in Jonathan Rogers Park, I'm penalized. What am I likely to? I'm likely to have a tall can double IPA my ass will get like wistful about the human race and start picking up litter. That's what you're depriving the world of when you say that I can't have a beer in the park. So I hope you're happy. But I will also say that, like, you know, it's not illegal to drink in public in Japan. But like, if Japan and North America are just built different. There's it's probably not, part of it is probably because I don't speak the language, but every time I'm in Japan, I do get the idea that like people around me are like, we're all in this together. And every time I'm out in public in North America, I think that 10% of the people I see would, if they could get away with it, they would kill me for $50. Not 100% of the population, but 10%. Or just for $0, just to do it and be like, F me, you know? Like in Japan, there's vending machines on every corner. If you put those vending machines in Vancouver, they would be tipped over day one. People just go around like smashing shit. I'm not saying that they, you know, it never happens in Japan, but like, North America just loves smashing things. Not even like for riots, just to smash it. There's something deeply wrong with us. And it might not just be North America, but like, I can only speak to where I've lived. Yeah, like that hitchhiking robot, you know? It made it through like half the country or something like that, which was better than expected. Then when it got to Philly, people like kicked the shit out of it and threw it in the river or something like that. And you know what's fucked up is that you know, I feel like if you asked the people who did it why they did it, they would be like, because fuck your robot, this is Philly. And I would be like, you know what? A little part of me is like, yeah. Who said that robot could come to my city? That's how I know this sickness is like, it's deeply ingrained. Like if the robot came to Vancouver and somebody like vandalized the robot and pushed it into the Pacific Ocean, I would be like, fuck that robot. We got our own problems. Little sanctimonious robot tried to teach us something about human nature. You want to learn something about human nature? I got some parts of Vancouver you can go to. You're going to learn a lot about human nature. I don't need a damn robot teaching me what the world's like. You thought you could teach us a lesson, huh? We're not playing 5 hours of Mario Maker. We're just going until we beat this level. It's almost over. Also, we've had good banter today. And it's been like a banter deficient sort of like month. So 10 hours. It's good to get some banter. See, if you have like no banter for like a couple weeks, you start to think that you're losing it. Last couple of days, I've been like, nice, it's still in there somewhere. Mario skills, not so much, though. 3 hours, 3 levels completed. Best arithmetic Redditor in chat. Least bad at math Redditor in chat. You got something to say for yourself? I miss Sips. Just go watch the clip of Sips reacting to Justin's seltzer challenge. That's concentrated Sips. It's like doing a dab of Sips. You get a week's worth of Sips in your brain from watching that 2-minute clip. Can you react to it? I'll at least like play it in the background here. It's not even, it hasn't even started yet.
Oh my fucking god, man!
It's so good. Then when he describes every aspect of the clip in exhaustive detail.
Oh my god! Oh, fuck, man. Jesus Christ!
What am I doing? Oh.
Oh my god! Oh, Jesus Christ!
Oh, man.
Oh. Oh no. Oh, Jesus
It's
Christ.
literally like it's a funny clip, but literally it's just Justin burping, and he loses it for so long. It's so funny.
Oh. Oh. Oh, my stomach hurts. Oh my god, that's so fucking funny, Jesus. The noise. Oh my god. Oh, fuck.
There's still more. Oh, maybe that's the end. Maybe that's the end of the Yogscast clip, but I've definitely heard an extended version of that where like he goes on to describe like he's like the fact that it's called the 2 Seltzer Challenge, the fact that the 2 Seltzer Challenge, the only goal is not to burp. Like there's there is a director's cut for sure. You don't get too many situations where like you laugh and then your laugh keeps getting heavier and then you start laughing at your own laughter. Like I was thinking, I mean, the last time it happened for me, I think, was when I was doing that Sporkle quiz and there was that picture of Bob Dole. And I can't even think about the picture without laughing. Like I'm doing it just to keep myself from I'm preventing myself from imagining it in my mind's eye because I'll be so much worse at Mario. Oh, that's faster. Yeah, the one with him and Savannah Guthrie. Exactly. Yeah, he died like not long after that image was shown to me. Do you eat the piece of sushi that's covered in wasabi? Usually, yeah. I'm pretty wasabi pill. It shouldn't be covered in wasabi. Like, I guess sometimes they pack the container, like, too much. And then, you know, like, maybe it gets rattled around during the delivery process. I mean, I expected maybe there would be, like, more argument there. Doesn't everybody eat most of the wasabi, I think? I like the sushi as well that has the wasabi, like, pre-built. I like to add my own. I like it, you know, when it's pre-built. Either way. I mix the wasabi with the soy sauce and dip. So here's the thing. That's not the way you're supposed to do it. But who cares? If it works for you, you're the customer, go ahead. A lot of people, I think they have the idea that they need to... Like, people treat sushi as if it's always, like, this serene experience. Like, you're in the middle of, like... Every restaurant is Jiro Dreams of Sushi. Like, half of the... people will go in there and be like, I'll have a California roll and a Philadelphia cheesecake roll. And then they're like, oh, you don't mix the wasabi with the soy sauce. You never mix the wasabi with the soy sauce. Like if you're at, you know, Sushi Dragon or something like that, then go hard. You know, if you're going to a fancy sushi restaurant, maybe you aspire to have it be a little bit more authentic, and then you don't mix the wasabi and the soy sauce, perhaps. But if you're just like getting sushi, you can do whatever you please. You think there's people in Japan who would do that? Like they take their friend to like a hamburger restaurant and their friend squeezes the ketchup onto the fries. And then they're like, "No! When hamburgers and french fries were originally invented in America, they had a little paper cup that you put the ketchup in and then you dip the french fry. You don't squeeze it all over the top like a madman. Some of the french fries are going to have way too much ketchup. Some of the french fries are going to be buried. They're not going to have any." There's a time and a place for all this. What if I'm getting sushi from Edo, Japan? Is that the Japanese restaurant in the Pacific Center food court? Honestly, you should be putting barbecue sauce on that, in my personal opinion. And then go next door to the Taco Time. Get yourself a marinated chicken taco salad instead. Hello, Josh. Get yourself a junior bacon cheese. A junior bacon cheese. You winning? I think we've performed at around our level of expertise today. Haven't been too many like clutch up moments, but definitely I haven't, you know, been so miserable that I've seen God or anything like that. What the fuck? Whoo! Oh, I gotta die, right? Like you have to grab the beanstalk. Just kill me? What do you do at the end of this level? I am playing the finals today, okay? I just need to beat this level first. You trust me, there'll be plenty of time to watch me get bodied by like 19-year-old kids on Adderall. Something tells me I'm going to have my fill. Oop. $100,000%. You can't? They don't make Adderall anymore? I don't know about all that. I definitely don't need a stimulant on top of caffeine. There should have been a new class of drug. I know there's hallucinogens, there's stimulants, and there's depressants. I think it's time that we invent like a new medium. Like, remember when the world discovered umami? Also known as elevated salt. Ooh. We need a new class of drug. We need a better class of criminal. I guess antibiotics are a drug, now that I think of laxatives. That's true. We need the new flavor of crack. Wasn't that bad. Okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom, then we're going to play the finals.